So there's been no indication yet that McLaurin will be dealt. But as I said to Felger yesterday, this is the start of it. When a guy starts having a contract dispute, inevitably, it either gets resolved or the player gets traded, one way or the other. The team, if the team doesn't want to give him the money. Now, I personally think that Washington's going to come around. You don't draft Jayden Daniels, have the year that they had, come back for the next season after making a couple of big acquisitions, and then all of a sudden let your best receiver go. It just doesn't add up. So, to me, it feels like there's some posturing going on both sides. But, we have Joe Murray here. It feels like a good time to ask Joe, are there any odds on whether or not he will be dealt? Like, is there anything out there? Will he be traded at all, or odds on what his next team would be if he is traded? Is there anything like that out there?
There are no odds. He did do an interview a couple of days ago in Washington, said he wants to be in Washington. They haven't talked at all, or at least recently, and on a possible trade or request, they haven't gotten to that part. He says it takes two to tango, so they've done nothing. And I don't want to talk about this. I know it's a storyline. They are not trading Terry McLaurin. You catered to the quarterback. You can't have Jayden Daniels and let this guy go. Like, this is why I don't want to talk about this, because I think we're wasting our breath. They are not letting him go. The problem is he's 30 years old or 31. He's not going to get the $30 million a year like everybody else because then they're in the mid-20s. But they're going to come to camp, and Jayden Daniels is going to look around and say, we got to sign this guy. And then they're going to sit down, and they're going to come to an agreement. They're not letting him go. They're not. Now, he could hold out. It's only going to hurt him. And, of course, the Patriots should be interested. It's all I hear. Oh, the Patriots are interested. Of course they are. They should be. They've been interested in every wide receiver going.
Joe, would you give up?
Leaving.
Joe, would you give up a first round?
Yes, I would. Well, the age is no. Actually, no. Would I give up? You have to pay him. You have to pay him. So
would you give up a first round pick to get him?
No, because of his age.
So what would you give up?
I'd sign the deal and probably give up a second or a third round pick.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with Joe on that. I can't give up a first round pick for a 30-year-old receiver, as much as it is a need for the Patriots. But Joe's totally right. We talk about all these receivers all the time. How many of them actually end up moving? Metcalf moved, so you can say were the Patriots not aggressive and as aggressive on that as they should have been? Perhaps. They were interested in Ayuk. Ayuk didn't move. Because in the end, the vast majority of these teams don't let these guys go.
Well, but a lot of them do move. Deebo Samuel moved.
Okay.
Metcalf moved. Tyreek Hill moved from obviously from Kansas City to Miami.
Okay, so those
like
are
a lot of these guys have moved
out of about 10 we've talked about. Because the point is, most of these situations end with a team, especially a team in Washington situation, saying, we got to pay this guy because we have to keep him. We need to keep him for the young quarterback. Like, eventually, if you're counting on a wide receiver coming free or a left tackle coming free, you got to eventually draft and develop it yourself. The guy might move, but how many guys have we talked about, to Joe's point, over the last 3 years who actually did end up getting traded? It's few and far between.
I mean, T.J. Watt was one of these guys. Oh, would you trade for T.J. Watt?
Yeah.
Did you see how much money he just got? I feel like at this point, they're going to show up to camp. McLaurin's going to get his money. Daniel's going to be happy. Maybe they do the dance for a little bit, but he's not going anywhere. And, of course, the Patriots are interested. And, of course, they should give up some sort of capital, but they're going to have to pay for it.
Yeah, I think you guys are a little bit underselling the whole, good players don't move thing, because I think they do now. I think good players do move. Now, look, it might not be, again, I'd have to look at all the numbers and who ended up moving, but these guys have come up, and oftentimes the team doesn't want to give them a contract, and there's a trade to be made. And so I think that, in fact, the dissatisfaction of players on their current rosters and their contract situation is one of the primary reasons deals are made now. So I'm just telling you now, do I think that's what's happening here? I just said to you a second ago, or I said when we came on, if I'm the Commanders, it doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. You have the kind of year that – did they get to the NFC Championship game?
They did.
Okay, they did, right? So they get smoked, but whatever. They get to the NFC Championship game. Their rookie quarterback looks like a phenom. They went out and they got Deebo, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did.
Okay,
yeah.
so I'm just saying, sometimes, you take a couple of days off of the summer of Mazz, Joe, and you know what happens. You reach the point where you start to say, where did he go again? And you start to sort of, go back and try to remember. So I can't see them doing all of that and then trading away Terry McLaurin. But nonetheless, Burt Breer himself said the Patriots are interested if he becomes available, which raises the question of what's he worth and what you're willing to pay to get him. That's all I'm saying. Now, go ahead, Joe.
No, I was going to say I did this last night, but Deebo Samuel went for a fifth. Mike Williams went for a fifth. DeAndre Hopkins went for a fifth. Stephon Diggs was a fifth and a sixth. Devontae Adams third. Like Jerry Jeudy was a fifth and a sixth. Like they're probably he's better, but the age. That's why I think they're just going to sign him because they're not going to get. I would trade a second, but look based off this, like a third, fifth. Those are what really these guys are going for.
Because then you have to pay. And are the Patriots willing to pay?
So, Jimmy Stewart, the last time Joe Murray was on this show and we started talking about, I shouldn't say we because I wasn't here, but the topic on the show was Jaylen Brown and some of his comments. We ended up in a whirlwind that confused a lot of people. Is that or is that not true?
I would say that's fact.
Did you think it was me?
No. I didn't say one way or the other. I'm just saying. So, because Dean and Shrewsbury's on the line.
It's one of the more talked about segments last week.
Dean and Shrewsbury's on the line, and his subject line says Jalen's politics, and Joe's here, so I want to go to Dean. But I would advise all of us first to strap our seatbelts in and take our Dramamine.
I'm Team Joe on this one.
No,
I'm Team Joe on this one.
I asked you a question earlier, and you still didn't answer it.
Well, I think-
so. I just was wondering what's going on with the hosts of this show. Don't answer questions.
When you sit in that chair, it turns into Facilitation Avenue, which, Joe, as we found out on Monday, is a dead end because Mike Felger wanted you, Joe, to give a take on politics because he has now admitted he was too afraid to.
No, I'm not.
Which I did, by the way.
I'm not asking.
I did.
I'm not asking for a
Joe,
take on
it's why in the
politics.
+6 number we're down.
Yeah.
So I'm not asking for a take on politics. I'm just preparing for.
You're preparing for the Joe Murray cul-de-sac that Mike Felger just basically doesn't answer questions.
It could be a potentially dizzying experience is all I'm getting to. But I'll tell you what, I don't remember the question you asked me. I probably did ignore it, but I will be willing to answer it after Dean. Okay, Dean, what do you got?
It's amazing that Jaylen is complaining about Massachusetts politics when Massachusetts is one of the most progressive states in the country. So you'd think he'd think his politics were welcome here. If he goes anywhere else, he is not going to get. He's going to get much more blowback than he got here. So I think he should be thankful he's in the state that he's appreciated that.
Okay, so look, Dean, this issue came up earlier in the week too. That there might be more comfortable places for Jaylen Brown to play. There's no question about that. And as much as Dean says Massachusetts is one of the most liberal or progressive states in the country, it also has a reputation that has been built over decades when it comes to racial relations that, it also exists. I mean, if we're going to say that, we can say that, we believe in taxes and, social causes and those sorts of things, but there's also a reputation that comes along with the city. But I do think that Jaylen Brown is sort of caught in between. And when I say that, I mean part of the good thing about being an athlete in Boston is the fact that people care. So anything that happens with any of the players on the team is a story. That's what happens when you play in a market where sports matter. You want to go to a place like Atlanta and not everything someone says is a big deal, then you can go play in Atlanta and maybe not get any recognition or win anything. The part that I'd be frustrated with if I were the Celtics in this story is that Jaylen Brown has gotten a lot of recognition in the last couple of years. He was MVP of the conference finals. He was MVP of the finals. He's being celebrated as a better big game player than Jason Tatum was. Jason Tatum's the one who got more of the scrutiny after that than Jaylen Brown did.
Rightfully so.
Agreed.
So, I think that Jaylen Brown is still hung up on some of the basketball stuff that existed before the finals of 2024. The finals of 2024 changed the way a lot of people look at him in terms of a basketball player. It certainly changed my opinion. He was terrific in that series.
Has it changed the Celtics' opinion?
No, see, I think they want to keep them both. I do. I believe in that. And I believe that they believe that. I also happen to believe that. I don't think they want to split the two up. I think that in the new NBA, where it is difficult to put a super team together, I think that keeping Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum together is your best chance. And then what you do is try to rotate the pieces around them. Why are you smirking, Joe?
I agree with you. I didn't know you felt that way.
This was actually Joe Murray's take that Mike Felger could not understand.
Mike dismissed me on
from his Nantucket treehouse on Monday.
Well, look, but I don't think it's wrong to say that Jaylen Brown sounds like an unhappy guy, which is what Mike's point was.
And I don't understand his feelings. I don't know if I read it as he's talking about basketball.
He wasn't just talking about basketball, Joe.
I agree. Very, very much I agree, but I don't understand that. I don't understand him. And I don't understand what he's talking about. Like, that's would have been my follow-up questions is, wait, who doesn't like the fact that you're doing stuff for the city? Who's giving you crap for that? Because I don't know who is.
See, I think that's in his head. I don't think anyone frowns upon the social work that he does.